So in the last class, we have started Banker's algorithm. We have discussed the need of Banker's algorithm, why we are using this. Then we have discussed the data structure involved in Banker's algorithm, that are four different matrices: available, max, allocation, and need. Available is a vector of length m. It's a linear matrix. Linear matrix means where only one row is there, but the max, allocation, and need are the n cross m matrices. How these matrices are working, then we will be discussing in the algorithm part. Here, in every matrix, you can assume that all the rows belong to a different process and all the columns belong to a different resource type. So rows will be your processes and columns will be your resource types. So max is the maximum demand of any process, and allocation is the number where how many resources you have already allocated to that particular process. If you want to calculate the need means how many resources your process is still required. That you can calculate using max minus allocation. Maximum demand minus the allocation that you have already allocated to processes. You can calculate the need. Okay, now we are moving towards the algorithm part. This is the data structure. Now there are two different algorithms. First one is safety algorithm and second one is resource request algorithm. So whenever we are saying that you have to write the Banker's algorithm, you need to write both of these. Both of these will be working simultaneously together. This safety algorithm will tell you whether the current state of the system is safe or not. We have already discussed if the current state of the system is safe, then there will be no deadlock. If the state is unsafe, there may be a chance of deadlock. So we will try that our system will not go in any case in that unsafe state. So we will always think that our system should be in safe state. So this safety algorithm will let you know whether your system is in safe state or not. Okay. So we are given those four matrices well in advance. You can assume available, what number of resources you are already available in your system, then your max demand of the processes, then your already allocated resources. You have known these four different metrics. Now using these metrics, you need to check whether your system is in safe state or not. First, for checking, we don't want to disturb the original values of the matrices. Whatever we are having, allocation, need, uh, max demand, we don't want to change those matrices. That's why here we are taking another array work with respect to available. We don't want to change the available array, available matrix. That's why we are copying all the contents of available in work. Now your work and available both are same. Why we are doing this? Because we don't want to change our available contents because it is the actual one. Let work and finish be vectors of length m and n respectively. Vectors of length m means you can say it directly. single array. Okay, so work is now having the available, means work is having the available resources. If we are having three resources, R1, R2 and R3, and your available resources are, let's say 2R1 is available, 3R2 is available, and 1R3 is available. So you can say your matrix will look like this: 2, 3, 1. 2R1 we are having, 3R2 we are having, 1R3 we are having. This available means after allocating resources to the processes, whatever you are having remaining amount, that you can say is the available one. It is not the total one. It is the available one, that is free, not in use. Then let's say we have another array, that is finish, and you are setting finish I is equal to false for I is equal to 0 to n minus 1. If we are having n processes, then finish will also have n different values in the finish array, and everyone will be having false. What finish is saying? Finish is saying that whenever the value is false, you can say that process is not executed till now. If the value is true, you can say that process is completed now. So in the very beginning, you are setting all the values of this finish as false. Why? In the starting, no process has executed till now. So this is the initialization part. You are initializing work equal to available and finish I equal to false. Means no process has been executed till now. Now what you are doing one by one, you have to find an I such that these both are true. Or in simple language, I can say you have to find a process whose finish value is false, means that process has not executed yet, and need I is less than or equal to work, means need of that particular process, need of the system is not there. Need I means need of that particular process I. If your need of the process is less than the current available resources, then we can allocate these resources to that particular process. Suppose your process require 1R1, 2R2 and 0R3. Can we allocate this process some resources? Are we having this amount of resources with us so that we can fulfill the requirement of this process? Can anyone let me know? We can allocate because we are having 2R1, so we can allocate 1. We are having 3R2, we can allocate 2. We are having 3R3, and this process is not required R3. So we can fulfill the request of this particular process. So we need to check. Suppose we are having 4 processes or 5 processes where demands are 1 to 0, 2, 4, 6, 3, 2, 1, 1, 4, 0. We cannot fulfill this process request because we are not having available resources that much. We cannot even fulfill this because we are not having 3R1. We are not having 2R2. We are having 2R2. We are having 1R1, but we are not having 3R1. We cannot fulfill this request. We cannot fulfill this request also. We can provide R1, we can provide R3, we cannot provide R2. So among these 4 processes, we need to check A process whose finish I equal to false means that process has not completed yet and its need is less than equal to work. Work means current availability of the resources. This one. If no such I exists, go to step number 4, which is saying either your system is in safe state or in unsafe state. Okay, so you are out of this scenario if you are not able to find any such process. There are two chances that either all the finished are already true, that is not the case here, or no process is there whose need is less than work. That means all the processes cannot run. No process can run. So deadlock state will be there. So you need to check all first that process is not finished yet and need is less than work. Then you are going to the next step. In next step, what you are doing? Suppose you have find that this process you can fulfill its need. Then we are giving all the resources to that process. After taking all the resources, what this process do? It will execute. After execution, what will it do? It will release all the resources, whatever it is having. It will release all the resources, whatever it is having. This is the need of this process. Allocation part is something else. Allocation means whatever it is having. It will release all the resources, so its released resources will be added to your free availability. Now your free availability will be increased. How? Because some new resources will be added here that are released by the process that has been executed. So your work is equal to work plus allocation of I. Whatever I was allocated previously, that will be added to your current work and your work will be increased. Your availability will be increased. Then you will check finish I is equal to true. Oh, sorry. Then you will set finish I equal to true. That means that process has already been executed. Then again you are going to step number 2. You need to repeat these steps. You need to check that process again and again. Might be possible that first in the beginning these processes were not able to run due to the lack of resources, but after releasing these resources from this process, now your work has been increased. This capacity is increased now. Now may be possible that there is some process that can be executed. After that execution, again that process will be releasing all the things, then your work will again increase. In this way, you can execute your process one after another, and you have to check whether all the processes can run in any order or not. If there is a single order that you can run all the processes in this order, then you can say it will be a safe state. It was a safe state. There is a way that all the processes can run one after another. Is there any doubt in this algorithm? Okay, moving forward. Resource request algorithm for process PI. Now this process is used when some process is requesting some kind of resource. As the name suggests, resource request algorithm. Suppose P1 is requesting some resources from the system. We need to check whether we can provide those resources to that process or not. Even we are having that particular amount with us, but we need to check after giving or allocating those resources to that process, there should not be any deadlock in the system. If after allocating those resources to that process, if the deadlock may arise, then we will say we are not going to allocate those resources to process. So this algorithm will tell you, uh, are you going to allocate the resources to the process or not? Here, request of I means request vector for process Pi. It means it is a vector like this 1, 2, 1, which means process Pi is requesting one resource of R1, two resource of R2, one resource of R3. This kind of vector will be request. If request I of j equal to k, some value, request 1 is equal to 2, then process Pi wants k instances of resource type Rj. It's a simple thing. If request is less than need, then go to step 2. Your request should be always less than the need of that process. Need is the total requirement of that process. Any process cannot request more than its need. If this condition is true, request is less than need, then only you are going to step number 2. Otherwise, you can say it's an error condition. 1 second, guys. Yeah. If request is less than need, then only you will go to step number 2. Otherwise, you may raise the error condition since the process has exceeded its maximum claim. And no process can request more than its need. Then second step, you have to check whether your request is less than available or not. Whatever any process is requesting, can you give, are you having that number of resources that you can fulfill the request? Your request should be less than or available. If yes, then only you are going to step number 3. Otherwise, that process have to wait, because we cannot provide resources to that process because we are not having that much resources. If your request is less than need and your request is also less than available that you can fulfill this request, then you need to check that you can allocate or not. In both of these conditions, you are not going to allocate at all. In step number 3 will come when you are capable of allocating the resources. Okay, you are now capable of allocating resources, but you are checking whether you will allocate or not. Pretend to allocate resources to Pi by modifying the state as follows. Now, in step number 3, we are theoretically pretending that, let's assume that we are giving all the resources to Pi. Whatever Pi was requesting, we are giving all the resources to that particular process. Then what will happen? We are only thinking, we are not giving in actual. We are pretending that after, what will be the scenario after giving all the resources to Pi? Your available will be reduced. You, because you are giving all the resources from your availability, so your available will be decreased, available will be decreased by request. If your available was 5, 3, 2, and you are giving these number of resources 1 to 1, so 1 R1 will be less. Now 5 R1 means now you will be having 4 R1. You are having 3 R2, you have allocated 2 R2, now you will be having 1 R2. You were having 2 R3, you have allocated 1 R3, so you will be having 1 R3. So final available will be available equal to available minus request. You are decrementing the available with this request. Now, what will be the allocation? Allocation will be increased or decreased. That process was having some resources already. Now you are giving some additional resources to that process. Okay, so your allocation will be increased. By how much? By the same request, because you are allocating these number of resources to that process. What will be the need of that process? It will be increased or decreased? It will be decreased, because that process was having some need. You are already giving something from that process need. You are fulfilling its need. That means its need will be reduced by request. These three values will be changed like this. Now you are having all the different things. You are having the different available. Okay, so now you need to check if safe the resources are allocated to pi. If safe, after the resources are allocated to pi, if the system is unsafe, then pi must have to wait and the old resource allocation state is restored. After pretending this thing, you are having all the new values. After getting the new values, you have to apply that safety algorithm again that we have discussed previously. If your system is still in safe state after pretending that you have allocated the resources, then you are going to actually allocate the resource to process pi. If after this pretension, you are pretending these things, after this pretending, you are getting an unsafe state, your system is in unsafe state, then this particular process must have to wait and the old resource allocation state is restored. Whatever you have changed here will be restored to previous state. No changes will be there, and you can say you are not going to allocate these resources to process pi. Now if you are having any doubt in this, you may raise your hand. Okay, we are moving to the numerical part. Let's say we are having 5 different processes, P0 to P4. This is the question. This is completely the question. Question will be having this number of things. 5 processes P0 to P4. Okay. We are having P0, P1, P2, P3, P4. 3 resource types means R1, R2, R3. You can say A, B, C. You can say anything. 3 resources we are having. Here we are saying that 3 resources are A, B, and C. Total number of resources we have been given 10 instances of A, 5 instances of B, and 7 instances of C. Snapshot at time t0. At time t0, what your system is having? What are the different contents of your matrices? Now, here we are having processes in every row. Here we are having the resources. Allocation, max and available. Now check max matrix. First I am telling you max matrix. A, B, C are the resources. P0, P up to P4 are processes. We have given 753. What does this mean? P0 requires 7A, 5B and 3C for completing its execution. It is the maximum demand of this process. Maximum demand, I am saying. There might be a case that you have already fulfilled some demand. Okay. So these are the maximum demands of these processes. Now, what you have already given to these processes is shown by the allocation. Obviously, the allocation will be less than your max. This means 0, 1, 0 means you have not given any A, you have given 1B and you have given 0C. That means you have not given C. This process requires this much of resources. You have allocated this much of resources. Process P2 is having 2A, but what it requires 3A, 2B and 2C. Similarly, all the processes are having some allocation and the max values. Now, the available one. If this available one was not given to you, you can find the available one yourself. How? Let's check. How many A are there? 10. B 5. C 7. How many of them are already allocated to processes? How many A you have allocated to the different processes? Can you calculate? Yes. 2A we have given to P1, 3A we have given to P2, 2A we have given to P3. 3 plus 2, 5 plus 2, 7. 7 A's we have already allocated to these processes. How much are remaining? Total was 10. 7 you have allocated. 3 A are remaining. How many B's you have allocated? 1 B here, 1 B here. 2 B's are allocated. 5 B's were total. Now 3 B's are available. How many C's? 2, 1, 2, 5 C you have allocated, 7 C were total. Now 7 minus 5, that means 2 C's are available. So you can calculate available matrix like this. Now your first part to calculate is your need matrix. What is the current need of these processes? This process P0 requires this number of max and we have allocated this already. So what will be the need matrix? Need value of P1, P0, 7 minus 0, that is 7. 5B it requires, we have already allocated 1. 5 minus 1, 4. 3 C it required, 0 you have allocated, 3 minus 0, 3. It will be the need of process P0. If I say you are required to calculate the need for process P2, what it will be? 9 A's is required, 3 you have allocated. 9 minus 3, 6. 0 it required, 0 you have allocated, 0 is the need. 2 it required, 2 you have allocated, 0. 2 minus 2 means 0 is the need. So process P2 will be having the need 600. It's not 600. It's 600 because you have to subtract individually, separately, because it's a matrix, not the values. It is not 753, 322, 902. It's not. It is having 7A, 5B, 3C. Okay. So in this way, you are calculating your need. On the next slide, I have calculated all the need values. P0 743, P2 600, that we have already checked. So in this way, after subtraction, you can calculate your need matrix. So today we will stop here because uh, tomorrow we are going to discuss this numerical. We are going to process the two algorithms you have seen one after another. This is a long question. You need to understand very well. Try to learn this algorithm by your own once again after before my next class, because if you are not understanding this concept, it will be very difficult for you. It is a sure short long question. Using this question, you may directly clear this particular subject, because there might be case 2 questions or 3 questions may come from this part. Now CR is requested to take the attendance screenshot and send it to me now.